Welcome, class, to lesson 4-7. Strong mathematicians can use equations to solve two-step word problems involving all four operations. This is some heavy-duty lifting, but I know we are up for the task today. So grab out your pencil, your notebook, write down today's date and lesson 4-7, and let's get to work. So remember our strategy with word problems. You don't have to write this down because you've heard this many times in different parts, but it's good to see it all again as a good reminder. One, we need to make sure we put the pencil down. We want to read the problem twice and visualize what the problem is telling you. We want to circle the question you need to find, and then relax and persevere. And then when you're all done, label, label, label. So with those strategies and those skills, let's tackle some word problems today. So admission to the theme park is $32 for each adult. A group of 5 adults and 1 child pays $182 to enter the theme park. How much is the child's ticket to the theme park? All right, so let's read that again. So admission to the theme park is $32 for each adult. A group of 5 adults and 1 child pays $182 to enter the theme park. How much is the child's ticket to the theme park? So we have a saying too, when in doubt, draw it out. So I'm kind of do a little visual walk myself through this problem if I had no idea what to do, right? So I'm thinking there's 5 adults. So I'm going to go A, and A. And then I also have a child, so the child would be C. And with that it says it's $32 for each adult. So that means this would be 32, and this would be 32, and 32, and 32, and 32. And the child, it says they pay it for the total, right? They pay to enter the theme park. So their whole total, so this whole big group of people is going to pay $182. So now the question is, how much is a child's ticket to the theme park? So if I look at all that information, so I know the total that all of them are paid, I know what all the adults paid, so how much did the child pay? Well, let's see if we can put this into an equation for us to solve. So I have 182 as my total. So that's the biggest number, so I'm going to start subtracting from that. I'm going to subtract. Now I could do 32, 32, 32, but if I have multiple groups, I can put parentheses, because we do order of operations, or parentheses come first. $32 per ticket times the 5 adults would give me the child's ticket, because it looks like I have this number in my thing taken care of. So I can check off, I got this one, I got all of these parts mentioned in my equation, so I'm left with just this one, and that's what I'm trying to solve. So if we go through our next line of our work, so 32 times 5, well, let's do it over here, 32 times 5, 0, carry the 1, 16. So we would have 182 minus 160, how we just go step by step with our work, equals C. 182 minus 160, so 182 minus 160. 2 minus 0 is 2, 8 minus 6 is 2, 1 minus 1 is 0. So I've got 22 equals C, but I need a label since it's a word problem. How much is the child's ticket to the theme park? So how much it looks like it's the cost, and I see a symbol of $1, so it would be $22. So you can pause the video right now and write down this information to help you out. Also, I maybe recommend going back to the start of this problem and rewatching the whole process again to help you kind of get into that thinking of how do we solve multi-step word problems. Another example for us to tackle, so put down your pencil again. And here we go. It said Carla plants 14 tomato plants. Her gardening book says that each plant should grow 12 tomatoes. She plans to divide the tomatoes equally among herself and 7 friends. How many tomatoes would each person get? All right, a lot going on there, so let's try that again. So Carla plants 14 tomato plants. Her garden book says that each plant should grow 12 tomatoes. She plans to divide them tomatoes equally among herself and 7 friends. How many tomatoes would each person get? So that's our question. How many tomatoes would each person get? Well, it sounds like we have 2 things to figure out. We have to figure out how many tomatoes there's going to be. We also have to figure out how many people there are going to be. So you're going to try to figure out those 2 things to help us out. So if I start thinking about a picture right there, Carla plants 14 tomato plants. So really I see like 14 of these little circles. I'm not going to draw all 14, but I get an idea that so she has all these things. And then her gardening book says that each plant should grow 12 tomatoes. So there'll be like 12 on this plant and 12 on this plant. So I can see it's going to be a multiplication problem. So I'm going to have 14 plants times 12 tomatoes. So I'm going to do that part first. I'm going to put that in parentheses for myself. And now I figure out how many people, each person, so I figure out how many people are there. So this is the one that we see a lot of people say, oh, she has 7 friends, 7 friends. But if we read carefully, she plans to divide the tomatoes equally among herself and 7 friends, which would mean she would need to include herself in that count. So it wouldn't be 7 people, it would be 8 people equals, we'll go T for tomatoes. So if you would have just done with 7 and you had solved it all, and at the end you'd have got a remainder, it would be kind of weird to give someone like 26 1/3 of a tomato. So that might be a clue that, hey, maybe that's not right. I may need to go back and see what I did wrong in my problem. Kind of that red light we talk about, that flashing light says something's not right here. So now let's solve this problem with the information we have. 14 times 12. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. Now that we're in the tens place value, put a 0 right here. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. So she's going to get 168 tomatoes from her garden, which is great. Now I need to do that dividing part. So she has 8 people and 168. 8 goes into 16 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. That gives us 0. Bring down the 8. 8 can go into 8 one time. So that means T equals 21 tomatoes for each person. And there's our label to help us out. Once again, I would pause the video. I'd even rewatch this one from the beginning to see how we worked our way through this entire word problem before you begin yours today. All right, you got this. So box 3, it's now your turn, so make sure you draw a big line. Right, box 3, now your turn as your label so we can see your work. And let's read the problem. A public library has more than 50,000 books. There are 249 science books and 321 technology books. Mary sorts the science and technology books on shelves with 6 books on each shelf. How many shelves will Mary fill with science and technology books? So you can pause the video right now, reread this word problem to yourself, and then see if you might need to draw pictures to help you out, and good luck. And another problem that we have, Lewis has 3,456 baseball cards. He also has 5,838 hockey cards. He plans to divide all of his hockey cards equally among himself and 5 friends. How many cards would each person get? So you can reread the problem again, pause the video, picture it in your head, do some drawings if that helps you out, and write an equation and solve it. I'm looking forward to all your answers. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to write them down or share them out. If you have any strategies that you use to help you, make sure you include them as well and share them with us. And thanks for another great lesson.